Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my Lord of the Rings hobby and I'm Chris, and in today's video we'll be painting the ranges of Gondor, or the Aphelion ranges, which we see in the two towers which ambush the Mumakil and some of the Harad. Now the first colour we're going to be using is the Caliban green, and we're going to use that all over the ranger's cape and his hood. We've also done a base layer of the model with Chaos Black, I think it is. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's Chaos Black. We are going to only use like 4 different brushes today, which is our small base, medium and small layer brush, and then also a small shade brush. So they're the ones we're going to be using. At the moment we are using the small base brush. So we're just applying this nice and easy, making sure it's watered down. Don't worry if it looks a bit thin, by all means just do another coat. Sometimes you can get away with one, but take your time, enjoy it, just be careful, try not to get this green everywhere, because we want to try and not get it as messy over, especially the face area, onto a lot of black. So here we are, this is all done up. As you can see, we've done that, and don't forget the little strips along his chest area. Sometimes you can miss it, just where the hood connects underneath his chin. So there we go, that's looking good. The next colour, what we're going to use is Death Forest Green, I believe, and that one we're going to use on his knees, his leggings basically, and also his underarm bit. So it's like the as you can see on the picture now, it's quite hard to describe where it goes on the elbow pieces, but it's just underneath all the leather, so we fitted that all over. So the first brown we're going to use is the Morfang brown, and that we're going to use on his main leather chest piece. I'll slowly start painting it now so you can see. I will zoom in towards the end of every stage just so you know what's going on. But yeah, we're going to use this around the top of his arms, around basically his jacket. That's probably the best way to describe it. Missing some of the leather bits, the belts and so forth, because we're going to use a different brown for that in a later date. So just again, take time, try not to get it anywhere else, but there we go, there's the finished bit. As you can see now, the model's starting to look more and more like the Rangers. Okay, the next brown is the Rhinox hide, and we're going to use that on his second leather bit. So basically that's going to be the bit covering his legs. I think it's like the tunic side, I'm not 100% certain. Also his forearm bands, can't remember roughly what they're called off the top of my head, but we're going to do that, and I'll show you the finished model in a minute. I've not done his left one just to show you where the brown goes, because the camera wasn't as good, but you can get quite the gist of it, so we'll do the left arm at a later date. Now we're going to move on to our black, which is our Black Templar, and we're just going to use that on all the black bits. That's going to be his face mask, and that's about it I think for his covering. Oh, and also his chest area. There's a small little V what goes over the chest, which is quite hard to see on the model until it's zoomed in, but we do the chest area and also his mask there. There we go, you see it now, we're painting that bit. Okay, so the last brown we're going to use is the dried bark, and then we're going to apply that across the bow as the stick itself, the bow, the arrow holder, I can't remember off the top of my head what that's called, and also the little pouch at the front and his belts. And you'll see the odd little straps on the model as we show you the finished model. So we're doing that little bit there. I'm just showing you because of how dark this brown is. It's very good for using as a wood or over leather, depending on how much is on your model. There we go. So we've got that sorted. Just remember to get all the little details. Take your time with this. Like I said, any mistakes, don't worry about it. Easy little fixes on this model, especially now that we're on the base, because the highlighting, you're not going to do as many mistakes anyway. Okay, so we're just adding grace here now onto our feathers, just a nice base layer, because we're going to paint those white at a later date. Just trying to avoid getting onto the browns what we've just done. Okay, and the next colour we're going to use is Reikling Flesh, and that's the base colour. I'm going to use that all over the top of his face, just above the mask, and also his hands. I'm not that keen on this finish. I think I might have messed up, but that's something I want to learn and do better next time. But I've just kept it in just to show you what I did wrong. And this is the finished look, which is it's starting to look there. The only thing I forgot to do was record me painting the sword and the hilt, which was done in Retributor armor for the gold and then lead belcher for the silver. Once we're happy with our model, we're going to add Reikling Flesh shade, and we're going to use that all over his skin and also the gold of the tilt of his sword. So just take your time with that one. Next colour, easy one, null oil. I'm going to use that on all the green, the dark green, the Caliban green. So that's his hood, and his little cape at the back, and also his silver sword. So we're just adding small details. Make sure it's not pooling too much, keep it nice and spread into the recesses. Once we've done that one, we're going to move on to Agrak's Earthshade, and we're going to cover the near enough most of the model here. So that's all your browns, what we're going to aim for, all your leather work. Make sure it's all nice and done. Okay, and our next one we're going to use the Aphonian green shade, camo shade, sorry, and that's going to go into his pants and also his sleeves. So once we've added this, now we're going to leave our model for around about an hour or two, depending how much dry time it needs. But there we go, it's sorted there. Now, if you could actually leave this model as it is, but all we're going to do now is add some highlights just to make it pop onto the table. So the first colour we're going to use is our Warpstone Glow. I'm going to use that all over the hood, so that's all the raised bits. So we're just going to get around the rim of the hood here, any little bits of flat stuff, and kind of make it your own. It's entirely up to you how you do it, but we are going to thin this down quite a lot because we only want a bit on to our brushes here, because if you get too thick it's big lines. If you do a bigger line and you think, oh no, I want to change that, just use your thumb very quickly, it'll just rub off the excess and sometimes leave you a bit of a finer line anyway, what you can go off to. As you can see there, I've just done it then, but just take your time with this bit, breathe slow, and you should be fine. Any little mistakes, try and rub off. If not, you have to start that little section again. Okay guys, so as you can see now we've done all our layers, very nice thin, and it makes the cape pop a lot more. Now we've got the recess of the oil, the null oil in there, and we've just taken our time. Any little mistakes, like I said, I've used my foam, quickly rubbed, but I've made sure I've got a bit of the flat stuff just to show the kick, and that's the cape done. Now if you have struggled with it, don't worry, this is practice makes perfect. I was nowhere near, and still not as anywhere good as I should be, but just take your time. So the next green, what we're going to use is our Elsane, I think it's pronounced Elsane green, and this is just literally for his pants. And so we're going to literally look for the folds on there, just make them pop. I did decide to do it on the front, is just give him quite a thicker layer so where the sun would hit. I would also say on his sleeves, don't worry too much because it's such a narrow thing. Just find a very nice fine point on your brush and just drag slowly across. Just get one thin line, it does help it a little bit. So there we go, there's that green added, and it's starting to look a lot better as we go through these stages. Any little small details, especially with the lights on it, it just makes it pop that a little bit more. Okay, so now we're going to add Scrag Brown now. This is where it gets a bit messy because we have to make sure, but we're going to use this on his chest area. That chest leather, as you can see now. So just take your time, make sure we're getting the corners, and we're going to add a few little details ourselves, little scratches on the leather to make it look like it's been used a lot more. Because remember, these guys are out in the bushes, they will be crawling through a lot of rubbish, shrubbery and so forth. So yeah, take your time, have a bit of fun with it, tell the story with your painting, because it does help the model a lot on the table. So yeah, don't be afraid to do a couple of mistakes here because you can tie it all in. It's just stories. So all I would say is take your time, get those nice little highlights, and yeah, go from there. So now we've worked around the edges and around the sleeves. You can tell it's started to pop a lot more. You can see those nice lovely highlights along the outside and hopefully onto the sleeve. I'm trying to get it in to show you the little details I've done on the sleeves to try and make it pop. There we go. So the next colour we're going to use now is our Doombull Brown. I'm going to use that on his levers, on his arms, on his forearm pads, and also his leg armour. And we're just going to get a nice little edge highlight across all those, and also I put in a few little scratches along the seams just to tell, like I said, that story of that is worn leather. So there we go, you can see I'm slowly touching that up now. And there we have it. So that's it all nice and finished. Make sure we've got those edge highlights. Slowly trying to show you the back of his sleeve, which I didn't do because I edited it out. So the next colour we're going to use, which is our last one, is Go For Brown, and that's going to be on the remainder of the leather. So that's your leather strap, the little leather pocket thing at the front on his chest, his bow, and also his quiver. No, it's not a quiver, the quill. I want to say quill, I think it's called the quill. And we're just going to apply that again, looking for an edge highlight. So sadly my camera switched off during that bit, but as you can see now, I'm just going to show you where it went across the quill. Just bring out those top bits and then his back of his bow and so forth. Like I said, take your time with this lot. Just make sure we getting our brush edge and just slowly scraping it basically on those fine edges, just to give those highlights more definition. So our next highlight is the Eshelin Grey. I'm going to use that on his footwear and also the front of his mask. If you need to, rotate the model in your hand. If you have to get it upside down, just to get those fine edges done. Just do take care when doing the mask to not get it on his skin, because we've got to redo that. And then we have our little second to last highlight done, and it's starting to look good. Now the next one we're going to use is our Flayed One Flesh layer, and this is for his skin. Now I think I messed up here, if I'm honest with you. I think when I did it, I accidentally moved the model a little bit too, and I ended up taking quite a bit of the shade off, so it didn't pull where it should have, and I've kind of painted over it, which kind of annoyed me. But as you can tell, it doesn't look that bad. I think the hands look really nice. You can tell that they are. I just need to practice that face area. So our next layer is going to be the Aphoric Armor Gold. I think that's how you pronounce it. If I haven't, I'm sorry. But this is going to be a very soft highlight over the gold bits on the hilt of his sword. I would say hilt. I'm sure it's hilt. Yeah, hilt of his sword. But I'm going to be careful where I place this. So I'm going to place this highlight at the top, as you can see the model now staring down to you, and also a bit on the side. We're not going to go under the model because there's no need to, no light there. So don't worry too much about giving this a bit of an extra clean and make it look really nice and shiny. So once we've done that, now we're going to apply Iron Breaker onto the sword. And again, we're going to look at that highlight as in anything what we can see physically, we're going to put a brighter colour on that, and anything we can't see, we're going to leave it. So I normally do the edges and also the flat bit of sword looking at us. And once we're happy with that, we're going to then move on to our final highlight, which is our white scar, and that is literally just for the feathers on the bow. And we're just going to quickly get our brush, and we're not going to be that tidy with this, it doesn't matter, it's just something to stick out. You can see I'm just doing very quick lines just to make the white pop, and just so you can tell that there is feathers in the back there. And there we have it, guys. So like I said, the face area needs probably a bit more work, so I'm going to practice that myself. But the model is ready for the tabletop. I'm just going to add a few little steps now just to make it fit in with my army, which I'm going to do by getting some World War Scenic stuff. I've got the foliage scatter train, which is really nice. I'm just going to add a bit of that into the army course. Sand they do, add a bit of PVA along the base, and then I'm just going to spread that around and then dip it in there and not worry too much about it. It kind of reminds me of the ambush in Aphelion anyway. That's why I went for this sort of mould colour scheme. I like the idea of the dust, like a dusty little path what they go on. I have also on certain models added a bush, which I've got on my Instagram. I've also just soaked it then with PVA, watered down PVA glue to make sure everything sticks. So once you're happy with that, guys, this is our item finished, looking good. If you do like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.